tornado! Hold on! Hold on! What is like? Here's Papa!
Oklahoma, home to some of the craziest storms and tornadoes. The state lies within an area of the Great Plains known as Tornado Alley, a region that stretches from South Dakota to central Texas. The region is in an ideal spot for supercell thunderstorms which produce violent tornadoes. The Great Plains allow cold air from the Arctic to stream south as warm, humid air comes up from the Gulf of Mexico, and when cold air clashes with warm, moist air, supercell thunderstorms and tornadoes can form. The state of Oklahoma receives an average of 52 tornadoes per year. That's basically one a week. They usually last for more than an hour and have wind speeds between 200 and 300 miles per hour. Winds at those speeds could lift almost any vehicle off the road.
We had a car flipped over!
But there is one car in Oklahoma that has been purpose-built to withstand the worst storms and tornadoes.
This is the Dominator 3. Before it had a $750,000 transformation, it was a Ford F350 turbo diesel. This wild machine is engineered to withstand the most vicious storms.
No, don't shut the window! Do not drop it down!
From gull-wing doors, rockets that shoot up with sensors, this car is insane.
Today, we'll be chasing these tornadoes with legendary storm chaser Reed Timmer and his storm-chasing beast, the Dominator 3, hoping to drive right into them.
Wait, wow! Oh, we gotta go.
So right out the gate, the Dominator 3 has just such a unique shape. It's shaped the way that it is to help deflect objects, wind away from the vehicle, because you can't even imagine how fast these objects are flying through these storms.
Here it comes!
There is a bullet-resistant tough liner all around the car, and it is 6-gauge steel that is all around the body of this. And you see here printed on the side, Dominator 3, because this is the third iteration of the Dominator. And the windows are double paned. This is the original window, and then these are polycarbonate shatterproof windows to withstand debris hitting them. Now you'll see the overall shape, it actually has an aerodynamic to it, and that allows winds to go around and really help plant the vehicle on the ground. It can withstand winds up to 200 miles an hour. And back here, in this hatch, we have not only room for storage and tools that may be used, but under here is batteries and compressors used for all of the tech back here. And we have these compressors because there is airbag suspension, which allows the car to be lowered to be even closer to the ground, because this vehicle is driven straight into the storm. And on top, you'll see we have an anemometer, which measures the speed and direction of wind. Those two yellow rockets are shot up into the storm, and there are small sensors that are used for data measuring for tornadoes and all sorts of crazy stuff. But enough of the outside, let's go ahead and check out what's inside. This door alone weighs about 800 pounds. There's 4 doors, they all are gull wing doors. There's even a hatch up top. This entire vehicle weighs about 10,000 pounds. And before it was the Dominator, it was a Ford F350 turbo diesel. Come check this out. On the door, you'll actually see that this was the original door. This was the original Ford door. And then this is the add-on from the $750,000 transformation to make sure that this is as durable as possible to withstand any storm thrown its way. You'll see some of these controls here. These buttons control the ride height from the airbag suspension, and these toggles control there are clamps that are here that shoot right into the ground about 8 to 10 inches to just tuck it and hold it. Like, this thing isn't going anywhere. One sets it all the way to the lowest. Now it's tucked and ready to take on whatever storm. And in the captain's chair, driver's seat, I have all of these controls from storm data measuring systems, even for video, audio, and they have these harnesses even to hold them in if they're in something wild. But the real magic's in the back. Let's go ahead and check that out. Watch out. 800-pound doors coming through. There is a fifth seat. And back here seems to be the coolest seat because this is how you control the rockets. All the way on the left, this is your main power. This is the igniters for the rockets. This toggle switch actually directs the rockets so that you can aim towards the storm, which is pretty awesome. And then once the continuity lights are on, these buttons will launch the left 1 and 2 rockets. We have the keys, so let's go ahead and turn her on. So I don't know if you can hear everything, but this is actually powered by 6.7 liter turbo diesel engine, which comes with the F350. And you hear all of the generators and compressors working to work the airbag system and everything else and all the tech that is built into this vehicle. As I'm cruising around, it doesn't feel that different from, an F350 with a bunch of weight on it. If anything, it enjoys the work, it enjoys all the extra weight. But like as you turn, you can definitely feel that, it sways a little bit. It's a little maybe top heavy, but not too bad. I am so ready to chase some storms. And I'm here with the legendary storm chaser himself, Reed Timmer. Now, I have a ton of questions that I need to ask him before we take this out on a storm. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Reed Timmer is an American meteorologist and the world's #1 storm chaser. He has a PhD in meteorology from, surprisingly, the University of Oklahoma and started chasing storms way back in the 90s.
Tornado on the ground east! Tornado on the ground west!
Experiencing unbelievable weather conditions like cows being lifted into the air by tornadoes.
Not good!
And has been through the best and the worst in the Dominator 3.
So one of the questions I have is, why did you pick a Ford F350 as the base and the backbone of the Dominator 3?
Well, we needed a good, powerful engine, and that's what the diesel engine of the Ford F350 provides. It carries a lot of weight as well, and it was easy to customize it. We were able to just shave the top off of the pickup truck and then build the Dominator 3 around it.
Got it. It was definitely like the diesel takes all of the weight on it. It doesn't really feel that heavy when you're driving it around.
Yeah, and it gets great gas mileage too, like 13 or 14 miles a gallon on the road, which is good for tornado tanks. Here we have 16 gauge steel. This is the armor on the vehicle. Lexan polycarbonate windows, as you can see. They can protect us from flying debris. 2x4s, even a blade of grass moving at 200 miles an hour could be deadly inside of a tornado. That's why we need this protective armor on the Dominator 3.
Now this has gone over an extensive transformation, about $750,000. Where can we see that reflected in the Dominator?
Well, this is a purely custom-built vehicle, so it was built on top of an F350, but all the exterior is custom-built, custom-fabricated, all the steel, the polyethylene Kevlar composite on the outside, the spike system that anchors us to the ground. This is all a custom-built spike system. Those go in like 8 inches into the ground to anchor us down, and also the window lift system. So we have polycarbonate windows. These are Lexan windows. Basically, the flip of a switch and the bulletproof windows go up, and we actually have a double window system that can protect us from flying 2x4s. Even a pebble moving at 200 miles an hour could be deadly.
Wow. I never thought a pebble could be deadly.
Even a blade of grass moving at 200 miles an hour could be deadly. So we have to have all the polycarbonate windows on the outside, the 16 gauge steel with the polyethylene Kevlar composite on the outside, and keeps us protected inside of the tornado.
Wow.
And also on the instrumentation too, we have the anemometer up there, measuring wind speed and direction. You can see it's a little bit bent. That's from the tornado last year that we intercepted. A juniper tree hit the vehicle.
On the Dominator 3, what is like one of the coolest features on here?
My favorite is the rocket launcher. So that's kind of a whole many years of trial and error and trying to figure out the best way to get a sensor inside of the tornado. We learned that we needed the propulsion that a rocket provides so we can get through the sinking air that surrounds a tornado, and then we can deploy sensors inside. But I also love the spike system on the Dominator 3, deploying those into the ground. There's nothing more satisfying than putting a couple of holes in the road when you're deploying inside of a tornado, and just knowing that that is really your only safety point that keeps you anchored to the ground.
Can we see it in action?
Yeah, we can. I'll do the window lift first. 3, 2, 1. Boom, we're ready to deploy. So we get in the path of a tornado, it's coming right at us, and we drop the vehicle flush to the ground. I do that by pressing 1 here. That lowers it to the ground. And that way no wind can get underneath the vehicle and loft us through the air inside of a tornado. Obviously that would be really bad. So we drop the vehicle flush to the ground, and then I press this down, and then the spikes go into the ground. And that's probably my favorite feature of the whole vehicle, because it means the difference between us surviving the tornado and potentially being carried away by it. We have those 2 contact points, the spikes go in at an angle, and that keeps us anchored to the ground inside of the tornado.
Drop down, drop down!
So here's the Dominator 1 and 2, and they've been kept outside for many years.
Reed showed us the first and second versions of the Dominators, no longer drivable from being battered and bruised by storms and tornadoes. They show how the technology behind these crazy vehicles has evolved over the years.
I plan on fixing them up again.
Yeah.
And Dominator 2 doesn't drive anymore, but we could still fix it up. Dominator 1 does drive, but this is the very first one that we built. And the first one's based on a 2008 Chevy Tahoe. And so we definitely made some improvements to Dominator 3 by having the diesel engine. We also added a spike system to Dominator 3 because this one actually doesn't have spikes, but it does have hydraulics, so we can drop it flush to the ground. But we did make a lot of improvements, including the door system. So to get inside,
Oh, wow.
you have to open it this way, and you actually have to shut the back door first before you can shut the front door. So the gull wing doors are a big improvement.
But I mean, even look at...
You have to give it a real hard tug. It's kind of like a jerk, real hard.
Will you please?
Okay, never mind.
That's how durable it is.
We measured the strongest wind that we've ever been inside was in the Dominator 1.
Oh, really?
155 miles an hour.
That's insane.
But we had a window blowout on the left side. We don't have an automatic window lift system. You have to lift these manually when you're in the tornado. And we didn't have time to do it inside of a tornado in Nebraska, so it blew out the regular window. But that's why we added the double Lexan windows, the Lexan insert and the outer Lexan window, to make it automated. So when you deploy, they just automatically lift up.
The gull wing doors on the Dominator 3, were those difficult to put in, to install, versus a system like this?
Yeah, the gull wing doors are probably the most complicated part of the Dominator 3. All those 2-directional valves, the 1-directional valves, and straps. And it's probably the most complicated part of the Dominator 3, and the part that will go wrong at times too. So it was very difficult to add the gull wing doors and the design in there, the automatic lift system.
Take a look at the Dominator 2. So from the first to the second one.
It's a little bit lower profile than Dominator 1, a little bit more of a gradual taper, more aerodynamic from the back. And we also have these valves that will close automatically when we're about to intercept a tornado, so the wind can't get in there. Ride's a little bit lower. But we definitely needed to add the spike system to Dominator 3 to really prevent any sliding inside of the tornado and to make it safer if we're intercepting strong tornadoes, which EF2, EF3, and greater.
Now, out of all of the Dominators, which one has seen the most insane storms, winds, and has endured the most out of everything?
The Dominator 1 has definitely endured the most crazy conditions, and this is why it's probably my favorite Dominator. It was the first one, and after it was built, we just kind of took our friend's word for it that it would work inside of a tornado. We just hopped in here and started intercepting them right away, which was a little bit scary at first. Ears popping.
Oh, low pressure. Standing radar.
But this one has seen the craziest tornadoes. We had the window blowout. We even had a horse that hit the Dominator 1. So we were inside of a tornado and there was a dead horse right next to the vehicle.
Speechless.
Yeah,
At
I've seen
least.
flying cows a few times too in Wyoming, and you can see them kind of moving around in the air.
Cows! Cows going through the air!
But we definitely hope that they pass out probably before you know, they're lofted, of course.
And we are going to do this.
Yeah.
Gosh. Has there ever been a moment in the chase that you've questioned, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And maybe questioned if you would come out alive?
Yeah, I am a natural optimist, so I always assume that we're going to come out alive and the vehicles will work. And we understand tornadoes really well too. We're most comfortable when we're right underneath the storm, kind of reading the structure and the tornado genesis from up close. But there were a couple of times that I thought we might not make it out of this. And the one was in Dominator 1 in western Nebraska. It was a slow moving tornado, and initially it was relatively weak, so we made the decision to intercept it, and it intensified with us inside. It was barely moving, almost stationary, and everything got really dark. Our ears were popping from the intense pressure fall.
We get the path of it. Can I just throw it out the window or what? Let's just wait. Whoa! Wow. Oh, we got to go.
And then the window blew out because we didn't have time to get the outer window in place. And at that moment, I thought there's a small chance that the vehicle could get lofted and will be airborne. But it happened so fast that you don't have a ton of time to think about it. And next thing you know, the tornado is moving away. You survived it, even though the window was blown out. And then you could see the tornado intensify as it moved off in the distance. So here's the personal driver. I use this for storm chasing, like in the Mid-South. Dixie Alley setups or other ones where we're not taking the Dominator 3.
You do not go easy on your vehicles.
No way. Yeah, we're pretty hard on them.
My
You see the
goodness.
windshield, we just had some baseball-sized hail a couple days ago.
Break it out!
But we don't have to worry about that in the Dominator, at least, with the Lexan windows. But you definitely get a lot of big hail. Sometimes they can be 6 or 7 inches in diameter. Gorilla hail, we call that.
Right now it's sunny, blue skies. How can you tell when there's going to be a storm?
Well, like you said, this is the warm before the storm here, and you have to build the instability first. The sun comes out, and tomorrow looks like it's going to be pretty significant. A big storm system is coming in. It's going to be sunny beforehand, and supercells should erupt at about 3 or 4 p.m., and they could have tornadoes as well.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see what we do tomorrow.
Hearing some of Reed's stories of surviving storms and seeing the damage his vehicles have taken, windows flying out and hail smashing into windscreens, I'm a little nervous. The Dominator 3 does look like it would protect you, but hearing these stories makes me feel like anything could go wrong at the mercy of the weather.
It's storm day. And despite the blue skies and sun, you can tell it's a little windy. We're gonna drive up to Kansas. Reed says we're probably gonna get a tornado today. I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be a good one. Maybe slightly nervous too.
Reed thinks the best chance of us finding a tornado will be to drive 5 hours cross-state into Kansas, where a big storm system is coming in and supercells could form, leading to tornadoes. Before we go, the team needs to make sure the Dominator 3 is ready and all the tech is fully operational.
Definitely I'll have her right in the front, I think. Gizmo's my storm chasing dog. She's 15 years old. She's my life partner also, and she's seen over 200 tornadoes, more than any other dog on the planet in the history of the planet, and maybe even beyond that. So she's the #1 storm chasing dog. She's the boss. She's in charge of the vehicle too, and she has to ride in the front seat or she's gonna flip out. Gonna develop across northern Kansas about 3 or 4 p.m.
So they're also filming. They have their own social media, they're on YouTube, but then they also have a live stream set up in the Dominator 3 so people can watch the live stream as the storm's going on and interact, obviously, with them while they're chasing the storm, which is pretty cool.
Incredible instability today. That's why you're getting these big, whoa, big lightning.
We're in a tornado right now. We're in a freaking tornado, guys. It's not visible.
We got a car flipped over.
Is she hurt?
No, nobody's hurt, but I got my dog too.
Can you guys come in? I'll pull up and get in the back of the car.
Gizmo, the storm chasing dog. She'll help us sniff out the tornadoes too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's rock and roll. What about...
I have Concordia typed in. Concordia, Kansas, northern Kansas. Should get there at 2:15 p.m. Storms develop at 3 to 4. And I think we're going to see an arc of kind of low top supercells with tornado potential, large hail as well. And we're in the Dominator 3, the first chase in the Dominator 3 of this year.
Woo!
And we've got the microbarometer down there. That's the subsonic sensor. That's the data we're going to be collecting. Just spilled all over my crotch again. I didn't need a towel.
Yeah, the real challenge with the team concept is being able to make sure Gizmo's comfortable and happy on every chase, I think.
She has to approve all the team vendor, I believe.
This is the model forecast supercells they're going to develop, and you can see up near northern Kansas, it's got a bunch of the smaller cells. And you want those individual supercell storms to produce the tornadoes. And really strong wind shear in place, a lot of moisture as well. We need a little bit more moisture and it'd probably be a tornado outbreak, but I still think that the moisture is good enough to get tornadoes in that environment. Sometimes you forget that the vehicle looks a little different.
So you look out your window and notice every person just like this.
With their phones, yeah.
So you'll sometimes see these like mini tornadoes that kick up a bunch of dust and make a big mess. Those are just called dust devils. Or at least that's what we call them out here. Talking about them done dust devils out here.
Oh, yeah.
A dust devil is basically a strong, well-formed, and relatively short whirlwind, and its size ranges from small to large. Dust devils are usually harmless, but can on rare occasions grow large enough to cause some damage. Hopefully seeing these forming means that we are getting closer to finding ourselves a storm. According to Reed's radar data, we could be in for just that.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at radar data and seeing how the storms behave on radar. You can see that some of these are supercell storms, and I'm also looking at the environment ahead of these storms as well. So I'm trying to see where the greatest wind shear is located, if there's enough wind shear for these storms as they move off to the northeast. And looking at the surface map, I know that there are better dew points streaming northward into southern Kansas. And if the wind shear is sufficient, we could get a tornado or two coming up right during the magic hour, which is just before sunset when the low-level wind shear ramps up. And that's when a lot of tornadoes happen in the Great Plains. How are you feeling, Gizmo?
Yes, how are you?
See that the cloud bases are pretty high here. You've got a cloud-based rain shaft, cloud-based rain shaft. And if you have lower bases, then you'd be more likely to be a tornado threat. Most days you're just driving around like this, trying to find storms, and tornadoes are very elusive. They can be hard to find sometimes too. So most of the time it's like you're trying to solve a puzzle, almost like a game of Pac-Man, driving from storm to storm, looking at the environment that they're moving into, and you're just trying to find the storm that gives us the best chance of intercepting a tornado. It feels good to be back in the vehicle, but it's really windy. You can definitely feel that there's a very powerful storm system just to our west. We've got really strong southeasterly winds blowing the vehicle all over the place. And you can definitely tell this is a dynamic storm system, a little bit more moisture, and we've been talking about an outbreak of tornadoes, but it only takes one for us to intercept, and I think that there could be a couple of tornadoes here in central Kansas.
Now we're going towards the rainbow. Yeah.
After hours of driving, we have spotted some dark clouds that we are hoping look like they could produce a storm.
Just stop here.
So much louder
There we go. Nice storm up near Concordia.
Does that always scare me?
Yeah, it always scares me.
It's right there by my head too.
You want to come out too?
Yeah, why not?
Come here, Gizzy.
So this is our storm?
Yep, that's the updraft base of it.
That is?
Yeah, this whole thing is the updraft base.
Okay.
And then this is trying to tighten up on the backside. It's just too high base, but you can kind of see that clear slot that's punching into the south side. It's trying to tighten up the rotation right there.
So there is rotation, but it's like this
Yeah,
piece
it's
right
broad.
here.
The whole thing is spinning like this, like a pancake above us. You can kind of see a little clear slot down there too that's punching in.
Mm-hmm. It's oddly warm for it.
We're on the inflow side of it, so it's like all that warm, humid air is flowing into it. And there's a bunch of rain up there.
Oh, okay.
And then see this dry slot kind of wrap?
Yeah.
It's trying to spin on the back side here. See, there's definitely movement. See how you kind of have storm relative northerlies on that side, and then this is really ripping that way. We probably do, maybe we should keep up with it. Gizmo and I are gonna go pee real quick down here.
Have fun. So wild to see the clouds and the sky all transform right in front of me. So I guess what happens now? Do we follow the storm or like?
Yeah, if it looks like it has tornado potential, we'll follow it.
Reed telling me that we actually have a chance of finding a storm with a tornado potential has brought excitement. But at the same time, I'm a bit nervous because this is where the real storm chasing begins.
Even though it's still high base, we're right there. That's where the tornado would be. It actually doesn't look bad on radar, so.
No.
See, we're also kind of facing northeast too, so that's definitely the wall cloud.
About to go a little bit north.
Got
To
it.
the northeast. So from here to there. Just trying to follow the path of the storm.
Well,
And
that.
you guys wouldn't make your flight. We'd just spend the night out here, unfortunately.
Uh-oh.
Probably could get an Uber back to OKC.
So we've been chasing a couple storms, and some of them are so high that they aren't forming tornadoes. So we're going from storm to storm, literally chasing them, and kind of observing and reading the clouds to see if there's an opportunity for a tornado. And we are on our way to another supercell, which is like a condensed storm by itself, because that's where it's more likely to have a tornado, where you have the high and low and the warm temperatures all coming together to create a tornado. Hey
Yeah.
Reed, do you think that this is like one that has a pretty good chance of becoming a tornado?
Yeah, I think this one has a good chance of producing. It's all by itself.
Yeah.
Renegade supercell and headed right into the Flint Hills.
Do you think if this one isn't, that there'll be another one?
I think this is gonna be our last shot.
All right.
This is it. Kind of the grand finale, and it's all by itself. Tail end Charlie.
Right into the red. Perfect.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! There's at least 140. Vehicle relative.
It's really busy and really wet right now. And the Dominator, yes, even though it's a tank, is really getting pushed side to side because of the size of it. It's just, so like we're not only fighting the wind and the rain and just the excitement of getting to where the tornado phase here. It's become a little bit of a party in the Dominator.
Life is party. Bennington, there was a huge tornado here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Probably the strongest one I've ever seen that was basically stationary. And it did like a figure 8 over here. Wait, whoa!
After hours of driving cross country, constantly monitoring the weather, and Gizmo getting a much needed toilet break, we have come out empty-handed. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm actually quite sad that we didn't drive into a tornado.
What did you get?
That's the real storm chasing experience. You gotta get hit by hail.
I got hit by hail, and I didn't even ask for it.
It wasn't bad until like that problem.
But Reed really gave us the Dominator experience, showing us all the gadgets and the feel of the car while pushing it through a storm, and hopefully next time I will be able to experience something like this.
Get over! Keep going behind that next berm!
Even though we may not have gotten the tornado we were looking for, this was such a wild experience to be here in the Dominator 3 with Reed Timmer, first-hand experience. It was so insane, the sky changing, and it was hailing down on us, and pieces of hail hit me. It was just an experience unlike any other, and you know, the storm chasing community is absolutely insane, and this is what they do for fun out here. I respect it, but this vehicle is, it's a tank. It can take anything, and next time we're out here, hopefully we'll get ourselves a tornado.
What do you guys think? Would you drive the Dominator through a tornado? Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Till next time.